Hurst,
Yes.
there's another way to think about the case your friends on the other side posit, and that is that transgender status should be conceived of as a discrete and insular class subject to scrutiny, heightened scrutiny in and of itself, given the history of de jure discrimination against transgender individuals in this country over history, in immigration and family law, cross-dressing statutes. They give a long laundry list, and I'd like you to respond to that.
Certainly. On the de jure discrimination point specifically, there has been some discrimination against transgender people, significant discrimination against transgender people in the history of this country. The same can be said of many groups. The same could have been said of the mentally disabled in Cleburne, et cetera, et cetera. I think Justice Alito's concurrence in scrutiny is helpful with this in saying this quasi-suspect class or suspect class process, what we're really looking for is classes that look like race or like sex. And if you compare the discrimination in this case, where not one of the laws they cite actually classifies expressly on the basis of transgender status, if we look at that history and we compare it to the history of African Americans and women who were not able to vote, who were not able to own property, who had express classifications based on their status written into the law for most of this country's history, these things don't compare. They're just not alike.
I'm sorry.
No, please.
No, go ahead.
There are two things in that answer that are kind of at odds with one another. You start by saying you don't question that there's a history of discrimination, I assume de jure, in this country. And then you say, well, but they don't classify on that basis. How should we think about that?
I think that the famous footnote 4 helps, right? This has been a discrete and insular minority. Has it been a group of people that were recognized as a group where laws were passed on the basis of their membership in that group, demonstrating that they lacked the political power to protect themselves in the political process? This is from Justice Barrett's concurrence, of course. We just don't have any of that here. All they can point to is conduct. It says, no cross-dressing, no drag performances in bars, these kinds of things. As I think our friends on the other side would admit, people cross-dress who aren't transgender. This is not a classification on that basis.